Hi, okay, welcome to week 6. So this week we're going to look at voting and elections. So just as a practical point, it's very important that you vote every opportunity that you get and that you do not vote ignorantly. You need to, everybody's super busy. So a lot of times organizations that might have similar priorities will put out voting guides that are very helpful. Like there are religious organizations that put out voter guides. There are all kinds of organizations that put out voter guides. So if you feel like, hey, I don't have time to search every issue and find out what it's all about, then definitely consult a source that you trust, or a source that seems to be closely aligned to your own principles, because then that will help you at least have some idea, because the way they word things on the ballots is not always very clear. So it's really important that you do your homework, because voting is everything. Voting is what determines who our leaders are, and they determine what our taxes are, how safe we are. You know, the foreign country with a visiting balloon lately, that's disconcerting. And so we want leaders, that are going to keep us safe. Our border issues, fuel, food prices, multiple train derailments all over the place. So it kind of feels like the wheels are coming off of the bus. And that's why it's so important. It's important, like here, I live in a rural part of Colorado, and so we have county commissioners. Those are our local leaders, and it's really important who we elect to those. And a pretty face. And I remember when Bill Clinton ran for president in 1992, and one of my friends, she was like, I'm voting for him. He's handsome and charming, and so, because it was our first election that we got to vote in. So there you go. That's how old I am. But anyway, and actually, I didn't turn 18 until after the election. So I didn't get to vote. But most of my friends, that was the first election that they got to vote in. And so I just remember it's like when Nixon and Kennedy did a televised debate. Kennedy won hands down. He was handsome, he was charming, he was charismatic. Nixon looked like a stiff. So it's not just the looks and charm. It's also, what do they stand for? And so today is President's Day. And that is often thought to be in honor of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And those are two men who stood for something. Humanity, the dignity of each person was so important to Lincoln that he was willing to fight for it, to free the slaves. And then George Washington, he was the general. He was the main leader of the whole American Revolution. He is a lot of the reason that we are not, British subjects right now. But who was he in his personal life? He was deeply committed. He voluntarily resigned his commission as the leader of the army when it was obvious that America had won the war for independence. And King George III of England said that made Washington the greatest man in the world, because he had power. He had total power. They would have made him king if he had let them, but Washington said no, because he wanted a true republic. That's what he had studied. That's what he felt would work best. And so that's what he wanted. And he only let himself have 2 terms as president. And he kept trying to retire. After the Revolution, he went home to Mount Vernon, his beloved farm, and he wanted to stay there. But then the Articles of Confederation fell apart, and they needed a leader for the Continental Congress. So he went to help forge the Constitution, and then he wanted to go home, and then he's the president, and he wants to go home. But he kept sacrificing that valuable time at his farm, which he loved so much, because of the love he had for his country and the sense of duty that he felt. And so, truly exemplary man. And just a little fun fact, 4 presidents have had February birthdays. So George Washington, William Henry Harrison, Abraham Lincoln, and Ronald Reagan. So 3 of the 4 we know very well. And I urge you to study their personal lives because they're men of character and they're men who make hard choices for the greater good, not hard choices to pad their own pockets, hard choices for the greater good. And, you know, is that what we have now in leaders? And if not, is that what we should be looking for? These are things to consider and think about. It's really important to be paying attention and making your voice heard. And the way we make our voices heard is through voting. So vote in every election. And then I just wanted to end with a quote from one of Washington's farewell addresses. He said, "Virtue is a necessary spring of popular government." And popular government is government by the people. So we need virtuous leaders, and to have virtuous leaders and to recognize virtue, you know, we need to be virtuous. What do we believe? Do we stand by those beliefs? Do we live in such a way that people can tell what we believe? It's really important. Integrity matters. And so I urge you to vote in all of your elections. Enjoy this week learning about voting in elections and have a great week. Also, if you have missing or late assignments, turn them in. I am a merciful grader. I understand that life happens, but you don't want to get so far behind that you can't catch up. So please get your stuff turned in. If you're confused about something, if you have questions about something, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you, but please, please, please get your stuff turned in. Thank you. Bye.